Hey everyone, it's so good to be back. And we're looking at keys for a happy marriage. So, I found this wonderful study guide from Amazing Facts, and you can find them on amazingfacts.org. And they have a 17 principle or keys study guide, and we're going to look at the first one now. And it says, the first key is to establish your own private home. And Genesis 2 verse 24 says, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Now, I know that there are different situations that may make this difficult or even impossible, but all things being all right, the principle here is for a married couple to move out of their parents' homes and establish their own. And if things are tight, they may actually opt for a modest one-bedroom apartment. And many marriages would be improved if this principle were carefully followed, according to this study guide. Now, the second one is continue your courtship. So court. And here we can look at 1 Peter 4 verse 8, Proverbs 31:28, and so on. So let's read. It says, above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. Okay, and we find it so much easier to look at someone's good side when we're courting them, but we're urged to continue doing this even in marriage. And according to Proverbs 31:28, it says her husband praises her, okay, for all this. And then 1 Corinthians 7:34 says, she who is married cares how she may please her husband. And these are all things we do when we're courting, aren't they? We try to please one another. Okay, and then Romans 12:10 says, be kindly affectionate to one another in honor, giving preference to one another. So spend as much time as possible doing things together like you used to. Learn to greet each other with enthusiasm. Relax, visit, or sightsee together. Don't overlook the little courtesies, Continue to encourage each other, be affectionate towards one another, surprise each other with gifts or favors. So, lack of love is the biggest destroyer of marriage. So don't let your partner starve for want of love in a marriage. Okay, the third key we're going to talk about is remember that God joined you together in marriage. So Matthew 19, verse 5 to 6, we're just going to read excerpts. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. So then, they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. So, while the devil may want to break apart your marriage, tempting you to give up and so on, God who joined you together, He wants you to stay together and to be happy together. Okay? And here in the study guide it says, He will bring happiness and love into your lives if you will obey His divine commandments. With God, all things shall be possible. That's Matthew 19:26. So don't despair. God's Spirit can change your heart and your spouse's heart. We only need to ask and let God in. Okay, now the fourth one that we're going to look at is guarding our thoughts. So Proverbs 23:7, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. You cannot covet your neighbor's wife. That's Exodus 20 verse 17. And then Proverbs 4:23 says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Okay, so we're still on guarding our thoughts, which is key number 4. We're going to move on to Philippians 4 verse 8. Remember, it reminds us to think on things that are noble, just, pure, lovely, of good report. Those are the things we should meditate on. So what the study guide says is that wrong thinking can really harm your marriage. And the devil will tempt you to have thoughts like, oh, this marriage was a mistake. This person doesn't understand me. You know, we can always divorce if necessary. But here we're reminded that we need to avoid seeing, saying, reading, hearing anything that suggests anything like being unfaithful. And remember, thoughts uncontrolled are like an automobile left in neutral on a steep hill. The result could be a disaster. So we need to be really intentional about the direction in which our mind takes. So be intentional, think good thoughts, focus on the good things. And before you know it, the small things will be overshadowed. And then the final one we're looking at today is never go to bed angry with one another. So as tempting as it may be, you want to pray away any anger that you're dealing with and really try to reconcile. So Ephesians 4:26 says, do not let the sun go down on your wrath. And James 5:16 says, confess your trespasses to one another. And then Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. So what the study guide says on this is that to remain angry over hurts and grievances, big or little, can be dangerous. So unless you address these things in a timely manner, even little problems can become set in your mind as convictions and can adversely affect your outlook on life. So it makes your home really pleasant to make up, and it becomes a wonderful experience, and it draws you closer together. And this is exactly what God suggests. Forgive, forgive, forgive. So bye. See you in the next video.